Okay, good morning, Boker Tov Kulab. We are continuing with Sanhedrin after our Pesach break, and we're up to Perik Asiri, the 10th Perik, which is known as Eluhain Hanechenokin. Before we start the Perik, we make one observation. If a person would take out a Mishnah, okay, we take out the Mishnayot, and you look at the Mishnayot is the Mishnah, and then we have the Gemara as the explanation of the Mishnayot. But if you take a look at the Mishnah, take out the Mishnayot today, right, and take Masechet Sanhedrin, right, you're going to see that the 10th parak is not Eluhain Hanechenokin like in our Gemara. Rather, the 11th parak in our Gemara, Kol Yisrael Yeshlem Chelek, is the 10th parak in the Mishnayot. And here in the Gemara, the order is reversed, the 10th and the 11th. Why that is, the different Mefarshim explain that perhaps it's the logical, because in the previous chapter we were dealing with Nisrafin, those that get burned and those that get executed via the sword. So we want to finish up the 4 mitot, because previously it was skila, and then this would be chenek, the strangulation. Whereas in the Mishnayot, the order is because we talked about in the previous chapter about the Kanaim Pogimbo, that the zealots can kill certain people. There's extrajudicial punishment. So maybe then the Mishnayot wants to continue and Kol Yisrael Yeshem Chelik Olam Haba, that the people have a Chelik Olam Haba, and not everyone. There's some people have an extra punishment and they don't go into Olam Haba. So either or, there are two orders for it. Okay, now we're going to do our Gemara. We're in the Bavli, so we're going to learn the way we have it here. And our 10th parak is Eluhain Hanechenokin. These are the ones who get strangulation. So if you go back to Daf Nun Bet Amud Bet, we had the Mishnah that told us how strangulation happens. And it happens by you put the person who was Hayab Mita, who is going to get this execution, you put him into dung, right, up until his knees. This way he doesn't escape. And we then take a hard scarf and put it inside a soft scarf, this way not to bruise his skin, right? And 2 people come and they tie it around his neck and they pull from both sides until he dies. So who gets this punishment of chenek? That's the Mishnah's goal. So let's start today. The Mishnah says, Hamakeh aviv ve'imo. If a person hits his parents, so we're going to see it's just hitting his parents, it could already be hayab mita of chenek. We're going to see the ramifications, how far this goes. Including in this, we're going to see, can a son who is a doctor treat his father or mother if he has to give them an injection, if he has to let blood or take blood, or perform surgery or something? Can a doctor do that? Is it not hamake aviv imo, that he's hurting his parents and he'll be chayav chenek? So we have to go through the Gemara. We'll see. V'gonev nefesh adam Yisrael. Okay, v'gonev nefesh Yisrael. If he kidnaps a Jewish person, then he puts him to work, and then he sells them, that person will be chayav chenek. V'zaken mamre. Okay, and a zaken mamre. This is a rebellious sage, right? Like Rashi says, he is one of the members of the Bet Din, or could be on the Bet Din, and he is arguing with Sanhedrin. Sanhedrin says, "What's the halacha?" And he says, "No, the halacha is otherwise." So Zakem Mamre Hayav Henik Unvi Hasheker. So if we have a Navi who says in Hashem's name, but he's lying, Hashem never told him. He's a Navi Sheker. Chayiv Chenek. Or if someone says that the Avodah Zarah told him to say this, and what he's saying is correct. For example, let's say the guy gets up and says, Buddha told me, okay, to tell you to pray Shacharit in the morning at before this and this hour, at Netz or whatever. He's telling you something good to do. And still, this guy said it b'shem avodah zarah. He's mitnabeh b'shem kochavim. He gets henik. The next case, v'haba al eshet ish. Okay, someone who has relations with a married woman. Okay, she's completely married, Nistuin, because we already learned that if she was a Erusin, if she was an Arusa, then it would be Skila, right? If she had extramarital affairs as an Arusa, the punishment would be Skila. But regular, fully fledged married woman, who already had Nisuyin, the punishment is Henik. Okay? Vizomeme bat Kohen. Okay, now, but a bat Kohen is the one exception. She's the daughter of a Kohen. The Pasuk says she gets Srefa. Okay? She gets Srefa. But we're going to see that not the person she was with, right? The Pasuk says she gets Srefa. So not the person she was with, not the man that she was with, and not the Adim Zoymimim. What is this? Okay, so if witnesses come and they say that she was with someone else, okay, so she would get Sefam if it would go through, and the man that she was with would get Chenik. Now the Adim Zoymimim, they made Adim Zoymimim. Two other witnesses come and say these people couldn't have seen anything because that day in question that they're talking about, they were with us in Universal Studios all day. So therefore they couldn't have been there. So that now makes the first set Adam Zayimim. Now, usually you do to them what they wanted to do to the other. So, but we don't do to them what they wanted to do to her. We do to them what they wanted to do to him. Okay, based on Sukim. So she would have gotten Srefa, but the paramour that she was with, the guy that she was with, would get Henik. So you give them Henik and not Srefa. So V'zoyim bat Kohen. Uvo Allah, and the person that she's with. Now, obviously, again, this is talking about that she is fully married. Because if she was Be'erison, then it would be skila. Okay? Because then she's an Erison, then it would be skila. The only chenik is when she's fully married. Okay. Okay. Right. Boil bas koim maoresis misazoy b'skiu v'chen. Right. Okay. So we saw that. Okay. Now the Gemara. Gemara says, well, the Gemara wants to know, where do we know this? Makeh of imo. Person hits his parents. How do we know he's chayam mita of chenek minalon? How do we know? Because it says a pasuk umakeh aviv v'imo mot yumat. Person hits his parents, mot yumat, put to death. And any death that is stam, it doesn't say what type of death. It is only henik. There's a halacha Moshe Sinai that we have, is that if it says mita and it doesn't say what type of mita, that means it's henik. That means it's the mita of strangulation. So the Gemara says, Ema, perhaps, dikatel lemiktal. Perhaps when it says, Ma'akeh aviv imo, you hit your parents, it means you hit them and you kill them. That's why he's hayab mita. Okay, but just hitting them. Why would you hayab mita? So, Ema, dikatel lemiktal. But we just hit him, he's not going to be hayab mita. The Gemara says, you cannot say this. Kata had b'saif avi b'henek. Gemara says, hold on. What are you trying to tell me? You're trying to tell me Maka Imo means that you hit your parents and you kill them, and that's where Hayab Mita. And what type of Mita you're Hayab? Henek. 1 second. If I kill a regular random guy, random Jew, okay, kill a guy, right? Ab Hayab as a Rutseach, we saw he gets the sword, Saif, Harry, the sword. And we know skila serifa herik v'henik. Henik is the least. So you're saying if this is if this is the halacha, the way you're saying it, that if I kill a parent, I get henik, the lowest punishment, and if I kill a regular Jew, I get herik, which is higher up. Does that make any sense for you? Killing a parent is definitely worse than killing a random person. So what's going on? It must be that it is when you hit your parent and not when you kill them. Right? So hitting without killing. That's what it must be. Because otherwise, why would you give the killing the parent chenik? That doesn't make any sense. Because you have to give something higher, or if not at least equal to killing a random Jew, which is herring. The fact that it's saying here, makeh aviv imo, and that's chenik, must be makeh without killing, hitting without killing. The Gemara says, "Ha nichal that is good according to the opinion of the Chachamim, who say that chenik is the least of the punishments. So therefore, it must mean that he hits his parents without killing them. Therefore, he gets chenik, which is the lowest punishment. And it's not herring because he didn't kill them; he just hit them. So it's chenik, lesser. But don't forget, we have Rav Shimon Bar Yochai, and Rav Shimon Bar Yochai, he holds that they're opposite. Not sekila serifa, rather serifa skilo, and it's not herring b'chenik, but rather chenik b'herring. So chenik is worse. So in that case, what does that mean? If you kill a parent, you get chenik, which is the worse punishment. If you kill a random Jew, you get the punishment of herring, the sword, which is the least punishment. So it makes sense. So it doesn't mean makya of v'imo. It means hitting them without killing them, and you're chayav mitah. No, it means hitting them and killing them, right? The Gemara says you're right. So we'll give you another explanation that even according to Shimon Bar Yochai, hitting a parent without killing them, you're still chayav mitah of chelik. Where we know. So I'm in the step. As it says, make ish v'met mot yumat. When the Torah talks about a person hitting someone and you kill him, it says make ish v'met. You hit a man and he dies. There's another pasuk v'midbar. And you hit him, and he dies. So when the pasuk says you hit, and it wants to let you know that the guy you hit died, it says vayamot. But our pasuk says makeh aviv imo, doesn't say they died. It just says he hit them. Anytime the Torah wants to say the victim died, it uses a lashon vayamot. It uses a lashon vamet. It tells you. This pasuk it doesn't tell you. Must mean that this pasuk is not talking about killing the parent, but rather hitting the parent without killing them. And for that, person is hayav the mitah of chenik. Now, the Ran does say there is one pasuk in the Torah that seems not to fit this mold. It says v'ish ki yakeh kol nefesh adam mot yumat v'yikol chavdal yud zayin. Says over there, if you hit somebody, mot yumat, and there is talking about killing somebody else, and it doesn't say that you hit them and you kill them. The Rad says the pasuk still is okay. Why? Because it says kol nefesh adam, as the entire person, meaning you hit the entire person, meaning you kill the entire person, and therefore he says since they use the lashon ki kol nefesh adam, from there we can say that. That it is that it is talking about that they died, even though it doesn't say the word "memetu," but "kikol adam" hints to us that. So we conclude this section is that we know the chayav mitah for hitting a parent from the pasuk make aviv imo mod yumat. It doesn't say the parent died, so therefore, if you just hit the parent, well, exactly how far you have to hit the parent, we'll see what's the exact definition. But if you hit the parent without killing them, chayav mitah of panic. One other idea, the mitzvah Eitan wants to say that this only holds true that makeh without met in the Torah, but in Tanakh, in Nevi'im Ketuvim, even if it says vayach without met, it still means that they kill. They hit and they kill. Only in the Torah itself does it say hit. It needs to say killed also to mean that it kills. Okay. So now we're gonna go to a tangent for one moment. We brought down a pasuk, Makeh ish vamet mot yumat. You hit a man, right? Then vamet, and he dies. Vamot yumat, he gets the death sentence of herod. But itzrach lemichtav, says the Gemara, Makeh ish, the pasuk we saw. V'etzer lemichtav, kol makeh nefesh. Okay, this is a Bamidbar Lamed Hey Lamed. There is a pasuk that says, Lamed. It's Dal in the Torah or Hashalom, and it says Kol Makin Nefesh Lefi Edem Yirtzach et Harutzeach. Okay, so it says over there that Kol Makin Nefesh. It's talking about killing a person. This will talk about killing a person. And why you have to have both? Makin Ish Mot Yumat, and then Kol Makin Nefesh. The Gemara says, if it just said you hit a man and he dies, Hava Amina, I would have thought Sheish Devo Adam Mitzvah in Katan law. I would have said, what if the Pasuk says if you kill a man? Man is a gadol, someone who's chayav a mitzvah. But if you kill the katan, you're potter. Perhaps that's what I would have thought. That's what says there was some girsot that says Makeish, meaning I would have thought that if I kill a man, I'm chayav, but if I kill a female, potter. So therefore, Katav Rahmana says the Torah, Kol Maken Nefesh. Kol Maken Nefesh doesn't say Ish in this pasuk. It says Nefesh, right? And from there, Mashma that it includes Katan, and according to us, Mashma it includes a woman. Okay, V'yi Katav Rahmana Kol Maken Nefesh. So just say Kol Maken Nefesh. Anyone who hits the soul. Hava Amina. I would have thought Afilu Nefalim. Afilu Ben Shmona. I would have thought maybe even if you killed a non-viable, okay, a kid who's born with grossly head deformity, he's not going to live. Or he has two spines. Again, in the condition he's not going to live. Or in the times of the Talmud, a baby that was born in the 8th month. We don't hold of this today anymore about the 8th month because we, with our technology, we keep kids alive. But Philu Ben Shmona back in the day, your 7th month you were okay. You were born in the 9th month you were good. But you were born in the 8th month, it was considered that he's not viable. So if he kills them, you would have thought we hayav also for that called maken nefesh. Therefore, you have the pasuk of Ish telling us that he has to be viable. He has to be a person that can live, not someone who is going to die. So quickly, let's take a look at the Rambam. Okay, the Rambam says one who commits murder is liable to be executed, whether he kills an adult or a minor, a male or a female. Okay, so that is what we just learned right now. Moving on. Okay, now the Gemara goes back. It goes back to the Makeh of the Ve'imo, if someone hits his parents. So, Gemara wants to say, Ve'imo, perhaps we should say, Pasuk says, Makeh of the Ve'imo, if he hit his parents. So, just maybe even just slap them. He didn't leave a mark, or he didn't cause a chabura, which means he didn't cause bleeding, whether internal or external. Okay? He didn't cause dam to come out. So maybe even then, he would be chayav just for slapping them. The Gemara says, but Amutanan, we have a Mishnah. The Mishnah, the next da, that says, Hamake aviv person hits his parents, eno hayav, ad sheyaseh behen chabura. He's not hayav until he makes for them a chabura. He hits them, that blood is drawn out, whether internally or externally. And what is the makor? What is the source of this? The Amal Kera. You want to know the source of this? Says Gemara. We have a pasuk. Take a look at Torah or Shalom for a moment. And hey, if you hit an animal, you have to pay. Adam, you might. And if you hit a person, you get killed. Now we know you don't get killed for hitting a person. You have to kill in order to get killed, except in the case of a parent. Okay, so this case of Makeh Adam Yumat in that pasuk is talking about a parent, and then it says Makeh Behema Yishalmena. If you hit a animal, you have to pay. So our Gemara wants to make a hekesh, a comparison, because in this pasuk you have about an animal and you have about the parent, so it wants to make such a comparison. Let's see. Da'amakra umake adam, and it starts off make behema. Ma make behema. So just like by make behema, you don't have to pay until you make a habura, right? Because it says by an animal, umake nefesh behema. In another pasuk, in that same parak, 3 psukim earlier, it says, umake nefesh behema. Okay? And we know that nefesh means dumb, means the blood, right? As it says, ki adam hu nefesh, don't eat the dumb because it's the soul. So it means umake nefesh behema, hit the nefesh of the behema, which means you hit it so blood comes out. So it must be that just like by the behema, we know in order to be hayav vishalmena to pay, it has to be dam, as we're learning here, nefesh behema, and nefesh is dam. So af maki adam, so if a person hits his father or his mother, is chayav mita ad avechabura. So this is the hekesh. This is the comparison in the pasuk. Maki behema yishalmena. When do you pay for a behema? You pay for a behema when it is blood, internal, externally. When it's hit, then blood escapes. Okay, so same thing by makir adam, which is the parent. It's until he makes a chabura. Now Rav Yirmiyah, matkif la Rav Yirmiyah. He says, I don't know what you guys are talking about. Are you telling me if a person loaded the donkey, with heavy stones, and it caused the donkey damage? Are you going to tell me he's not hayav? You're going to say he's not hayav? He is. He is chayav. At the end of the day, the Aruch LaNer says, why would you pay by an animal? You're paying the damage because damage happened. So whether blood comes out or not, damage happened. So therefore, you have to pay because it's damage. Okay? Hachinami, if that's the case, they're lo mechayev. And then maybe, then by the parent also, he shouldn't be, it should be hayav. Okay? Let's read it again. Right. So it should be potter if you put according to what you're saying, it has to be a chabura. It should be potter when you load the donkey with such heavy stuff. But no, you are chayiv. That's the thing. So if that's the case, you don't need a chabura. So what about by the parent? What about by the parent? So he doesn't need a chabura? Gemara says no, he does. Elam enu inyan lenefesh behema daha'inami chisha ba'avanim chayiv tinu inyan legabe make nefesh adam. Well, the Gemara says, I'll tell you what. He says that the word nefesh, if you can't use it for the animal, use it for the human. Okay? Nefesh, we said nefesh means the dumb. Okay? But now you're telling me by an animal, that's not true. You don't need dumb. You pay for the damage you cause, whether it's blood or not. Damages to a property, you pay for it. So what are you going to do with this word nefesh? Nefesh behema. If it can't be used for the nefesh of the animal, use the nefesh on the human, because that's what you have there. Makan nefesh behema, makan nefesh adam. So you use it for the nefesh of the adam. That what you have to cause a bleed in order to be hayav mitam henik for hitting a parent. Okay, and that's what you're learning it from the word nefesh instead of using it by the animal. We're using it by the human. So then the Gemara says, Akisha Lamali. So why do I have this comparison? If you're not learning it from Makir Behema to Makir Adam from that pasuk, why do I need the comparison? I'm learning it from the extra word nefesh that I can't use it on an animal, so I use it on a human. But I don't need the hekesh. So what's the hekesh for? We need it for the teaching of the yeshiva of Hiskiah, the famous teaching of Kamle de Mirabamina. That if a person has two punishments You give him the harsher one. You don't worry about the other one. How do you learn this from this pasuk? Makib behema, you have to pay whether you did it on purpose or an accident. You hit the animal, you always have to pay because an adam is mu'at lo'ilam. Because the person is always considered ready to strike. Therefore, he has to pay whether he did it on purpose or he did it by accident. The same thing, the person. And so now it compares. That's makib behema. Same thing by makib adam. That there is no difference if a person kills a person between mazid and shogeg. For what regard? That if a person kills on purpose, you kill him and he doesn't have to pay. It's the same thing over here. When you kills him by accident and he's not going to be killed, still he doesn't have to pay. That is the comparison between the Makeh Behema and Makeh Adam. The teacher's coming to Rabbi, he doesn't have to pay. And that's what I use this hekesh for. The Gemara says, that's good according to the opinion that holds of this that there is Kolam with Rabbi Minay. But according to that opinion in Bava Kama that says we don't hold this Kolam with Rabbi Minay, hey Kesha Lamali, why do we have this hekesh? So the Gemara says, hey Kesha Lamali, it says Ma Makeh Behema L'Refua Potter, because we know that if you're causing a hurt or an insult to an animal, but you're doing it for medicinal purposes, he's potter to pay. So if you hit a person that you could be chayam mita for, who's that? That's a parent, and you do it liverfua potter. So too, if you treat your parent and you, while treating them, you cause them harm, so you would be potter. You would be potter. The Bible, as we had such a question, Ben Mahu Shiyakis Dom Leovid. Can a son let blood for his father? Right? In the days of old, bloodletting was a very common medicinal cure and preventative measure. And it had to do with the science of the time that says that the blood and the bodily fluids have to be in a certain balance. And therefore, getting rid of some of the blood would have been helpful. Today, it's not viewed as as anything that is of any benefit, except for the case of polycythemia vera, a disease in which the body produces a lot of red blood cells, which includes symptoms of bleeding gums, excessive bleeding from the ordinary cuts and bruises, and skin with a reddish tinge. And those people still get bloodletting, but otherwise it's not really used. But back in the day it was. So if a son wanted to help his father, what would be the story? Rav Matna said, "Ve'ahavta l'reicha kamocha." Yeah, do it. Just like you want someone to do something for you, good. You can do it for your parents. It's also okay. It's also good. Barab loy shavik livrei. Barab didn't let his son lemishkale silva to take out a splinter from his skin. Ma'aber dervina lo shavik livrei lemiftach le kavto. But and also Ma'aber dervina didn't let his son to pop his boil dilma chavo. Maybe he'll make a bigger chabura, maybe a bigger hole. V'havile shkigat isur, and he would have been doing an isur. B'shoigig accidentally, he'll do the isur of makeh aviv. Okay, where it says 1 second, nihachi acharnami. So to someone else shouldn't do it, right? Where it says no, achar shkigat lav. Someone else who takes care of your father, it's not his father. So there's the only you don't get mitah for hitting someone, right? You only get mitah for killing someone. So here he's just hitting them. So shkigat lav. But no, when it comes to the son, shkigat chenek. It's going to be a shoygig of chenek. So I'd rather have the shkigat of a lav, the guy doing it, the other guy will just hit him, and it's just a negative prohibition. Than rather the son doing it, which is a possible of chenek, of a mitah of betin. So the Rambam, interestingly, his lashon about a son acting as a doctor, because our Gemara seems to be going two ways. You have One opinion that says v'hafta rechit kavocha, maka behema, maka adam, maka behema potter l'refuah, so too by adam is potter l'refuah. And then you have the Gemara that says the case of Meiser Rav that they didn't let. So what does the Rambam say? So says the Rambam, Hamakis dom l'oviv oishe refuah v'chetem l'basar or ever potter. It's potter if he does it. Afal pishu potter, says the Rambam, l'chatchilu lo yaseh king. He should not do it. Right? So says the Rambam that he shouldn't do it. The son shouldn't do it, even though it's potter, could do it, but he shouldn't. Interestingly enough, the Shulchan Aruch in Yoreh De'ah 241, okay, Yoreh De'ah 241, the Shulchan Aruch says a son may not remove a thorn from his father's flesh, least to injure him in the process. Similarly, if he's a doctor, he should not draw blood from him nor amputate a limb, although he does so for a medical reason. So the Shulchan Aruch doesn't say he can do it at all. Shulchan Aruch says no. So the Aruch says no. Then the Ramah comes and says this is only when there's no one else who can do it. This is only when there's someone else who can do this. Then the son shouldn't do it. But if no one else can do it, then with the father's permission, the son can draw the blood or operate to the extent that his father permits. So, is this what the Mechaber meant? Is this what the Shulchan Aruch meant? Meaning, is the Ramah explaining what the Shulchan Aruch meant, or is the Ramah arguing? It seems the Ramah is explaining, but was that really the intent of the Shulchan Aruch? The Ben Ish Chai says it was, and the Ben Ish Chai agrees to this. That if another is unavailable, the son may draw blood or operate on his father. Okay, so Halacha L'Maaseh said seems to be that it's much better that if a son doesn't treat his father, or a son should not treat his father or mother. If possible, it should be treated by someone else. If there's no one else, then the son can do it. Now, what does it mean, no one else? Could it be that if they can't pay for someone else? So payment's an issue. Would that mean there's no one else and the son can do it? If he's the best, right? Maybe there is no one else better than him. Perhaps he can do it as well. Again, if such a case comes up, you should ask a posek. I just want to end off this sugya. Are we done? Let me just see something. Hold on. Yeah. Okay. So, we have one little piece left. Okay, fine. We'll finish up this sugya right after this. But the Ramban, Nachmanides also was a doctor like Maimonides. Okay. But he asks a question. He says, one second. You're telling me a son should not operate or do anything for his father because he got a chenek. Because perhaps he will be inadvertently chayav chenek, right? Can't kill him, but he's chayav chenek. It could have been inadvertently. So he says, how can anyone be a doctor? Because why? I can inadvertently kill someone. If I kill someone, I'm chayav herod. Killing someone, you're chayav herod. The sword, right? So shkigat herod. How can you be a doctor? How can anyone be a doctor? How can he himself be a doctor? So the Ramban answers that since halacha permitted a doctor to practice medicine, and he performs a mitzvah in doing so, he need not worry at all. For if he does what he thinks is right, all his endeavors become a mitzvah. Hashem commanded him to heal, and therefore it's sort of a license. He has a license from the Torah, and therefore he can't say that he killed someone and he's chayat. No, it's not. By his son, it's differently because there is someone else who can do it, and therefore he should do it. But a doctor, who else are you going to go to? You know, and so the Ramban seems to say that you're allowed to practice medicine. Here's it. The Torah permits the doctor to practice medicine, but licenses them to treat the patient as well as they can. They're not liable if they're accidentally cause a patient's death. Okay, so if he's acting appropriately and he causes a patient's death, but he did everything right, then you can't do anything to him because he has the license of the Torah to practice medicine, even though you might think you got herring. No, the son, it's different. Okay. We'll end off with this next piece. Well, basically, you're telling me shkigigat chenek, so the son shouldn't do it. V'hadatnan macha shel yad lito ba et hakot. We learned that a needle, even though it's muksa, but you're allowed to use it to remove a splinter on Shabbat. But why? Lechush dil b'chavo. Perhaps he'll cause a wound and he will bleed, or there'd be the malacha of shchita, malacha of tzoveya. Whatever malacha would be a problem. Skila. And it's shkiga skila. If this person is Michal Shabbos, right, you can get skila. So shkiga skila, how can you let him take out a splinter? Versus hasam mikalkelhu. It's he's doing the machshava he's doing the malacha as a destructive act. We already saw that in order to be a hayav the malacha of Shabbat, you have to have done it as a malachat machshavas, something that's done constructively, something done like that. But here it's mikalkel. He's ruining his skin in order to get out the splinter. He's not doing something constructive there. Okay? Which is hani chalamadar mikalkel potter. That makes sense according to the opinion that says if you do a malach mikalkel as a destructive way, it is potter. But ma'ik lememar, according to the opinion that says it's chayiv. Ma'ik lememar, that's from Bar Yochai. So ma'ik lememar, what are you going to say? According to him, the mikalkel is chayiv. Where it says, who said that if you do a destructive act, that it is chayev? Rabbi Shimon. Rabbi Shimon. Rabbi Shimon also said, he also said that any malacha is just ain't tzrich legufa. It means you're not doing it for the purpose of that malacha. Okay, whether the malacha in the Mishkan, whether it's the malacha of this act. For example, you're not allowed to do hotza'ah, taking out on Shabbos, right? You're not allowed to go from one reshut to another reshut on Shabbat. You're not allowed to hotza'ah. But that's only in the case if you're taking it out in order to take it to that destination. I want to take my sefer. I want to take my water bottle from point A to point B. But what happens if I want to remove something? I don't want to bring it to there. I just want to get it out of my house. So that's the malacha she'et tzricha legufa, for example. And he holds the potters. The same thing here. He's doing the malacha to get out the thing, but he's not doing it for that malacha. He's doing it to get out the splinter, even though he's making a chovel, he's making a blood coming out, whatever it is. That's not why he's doing it. He's doing it to remove the splinter, and therefore, according to Shimon, also he would be potter because malacha she'ena tzricha legufa. Okay, so this is our Gemara for this week. A lot of interesting topics. But we will continue next week. Everyone, talk to